Joined now by CBS Sports senior NFL writer. His name is Will Brinson. Will, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on, guys. I feel honored to be on the old NBC set over here.
This elevated set that makes us feel more important than everyone else.
Well, and see, you guys are in a good spot, too. You can see the corporate synergy is working well.
Yes.
You have the same set. You're on the same height as PFT, right?
Well, yeah.
As you'll notice, like, they put my show on a smaller set.
Uh-huh. What does that say about us?
It says that you guys are important and I'm not.
Well, that makes us feel better on a certain level of the totem pole that we're on, that I know that we're on. So thank you for saying that.
Well, you guys kill it.
Oh, I appreciate that, Will. I appreciate that. Well, you do a lot of stuff with the Panthers. You cover the Panthers. You live in North Carolina, where I am from originally.
Yeah.
What if I made you general manager of the Panthers for a day? I mean, this is a Panthers team that is going to go through so many changes this offseason. Obviously, new head coach, maybe new quarterback. How would you handle that one day? What would be your first move?
Well, I'm Marty Herney for a day. That sounds
Regrettably.
fun. I like Marty. I like old Marty.
Take the senior title away, but yeah.
Yeah. I can be Marty. Look, I think when you look at this roster, what you're seeing with this Panthers team is something that's going to really, I don't want to say disappoint fans in 2020. I would not be surprised if the Panthers tanked in 2020. And even tanked for Trevor, potentially. When you listen to what David Tepper has said since he took over, he said, we are going to try and build something long-term. We're going to build something that is sustainable over the course of many years, not just 1 year. And more importantly, he said, fans need to understand that this change to get to where we want to be is not going to happen overnight.
Yep.
Like, it's our job to read between the lines on some of this stuff. And when I hear that, I think, okay, maybe something's going to be a little different. Then when I look at the Panthers roster, I don't know if long story short, I can't really remember why I took a deep dive into it. I was for an article, but I was like going through the salary cap table. This reeks of a tank.
Huh.
There's tons of guys up at the top like Don Terry Poe, who can be cut for cap reasons.
K1 Short. I mean, these older players.
K1 Short is quietly like 31.
Yep.
How did that happen?
Yeah, I think he entered the league when he was 24.
Yeah, he was older when he came in, but there was a combine in 2013 with him and Starlet Delele.
Yep.
And so I think there's a lot of older players. Greg Olsen, they don't know what's going to happen. Greg Olsen, I don't think knows what's going to happen. Cam Newton, they don't know what's going to happen. So to answer your question more directly, I'm trying to find the best possible value for Cam Newton that I can get. And you and I are both on the Cam train.
Yes.
I love Cam. One of my favorite players of all time. The first NFL draft I ever covered for CBS, Panthers had the team I grew up rooting for had the number 1 overall pick, and I watched Cam Newton take. I love Cam. I think he's criminally underrated and disparaged in the media, and I can't stand it. But I'm probably trying to get value for him in a trade, and I'm thinking about how we're sort of tearing down to restart.
Do you have an ideal suitor under center to take over for this 1 year tank?
Well,
Nominate your guy, Will.
Is this pro Kyle Allen or pro Will Greer? Are you pro Greer?
Neither.
So here's the thing. But this is, to me, a perfect excuse for Marty Herney or whoever this next person because they're bringing in a new VP of football ops, right?
Yep.
You say, listen, we spent Greer was 100th overall, I believe, last year. So it's a top 100 pick. That's a very valuable asset. You have to know what you have. The only way to know what you have is to play him 16 games. It is eerily reminiscent, in my opinion, of Jimmy Clausen being taken in the second. Not the talent level, but
it might be.
But that was one of the worst offensive teams you'll ever see.
Yeah.
And you can ask Jeff Schwartz about it, because he was on that team, right? And he's like, man, that team we stunk. Jimmy was it was a second round pick. They had to see what they had in him.
I believe Marty
drafted Jimmy
him without even meeting him. Like, he knew of his talent because they thought that whole draft process. Jimmy
remember
was
the trade
in the first round.
The trade was they moved
up in the second round.
But the year before they moved up to get Everett Brown.
Right.
And then they didn't have a first round pick, so they had to move up in the second round to get Jimmy that year, and they just hemorrhaging draft.
I mean, it's bad that we can't even keep track of all the bad Marty Herney trades. I mean, he traded eventually the number 33 overall pick for Monty Edwards.
That was a bad one.
Yeah,
I feel like that was owner imposed.
Don't you think it's weird though that there has been so much change about process, and that they want to build a franchise, a program with lasting success, yet they're keeping the person who, when he was fired by Jerry Richardson, worked at local radio. No one
ESPN
hired
730,
him.
right? Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
no one hired him, and then got back in the good graces after Dave Gettleman destroyed relationships.
Yep.
And now they're just carrying him over. I know they want to hire someone as like his right-hand man.
Well,
but it's
no.
odd.
But see, if you go back and read the statement from Tepper, it's actually weird. It's not his right-hand man.
Yeah.
It's assistant GM and VP of football ops.
Right.
So my understanding is that person would actually, Marty would actually report to that person ultimately.
Interesting.
With that person being groomed to take over the GM job. And we've seen how these things, you guys have seen how these things go in the offseason. Like, I'm not saying that Marty's going to be out after the draft. Like, I don't know. But I mean, like, I wouldn't be stunned if they made a change. I mean, it would be weird to like keep him around and have him in the press releases on the new coach and have him on the coaching search. But I think they might want to maybe transition him to a different role and groom this VP of football ops guy to be the eventual GM football czar type of person.
Yeah.
So like that's sort of, I don't think they know exactly where they're going to go. All of this just leads me to believe the Panthers probably aren't going to be very good in 2020.
That question led to a lot of Panthers talk.
Yeah,
That was
sorry about
enjoyable,
that.
But I got to be honest, I was just teeing it up to hear Phillip Rivers. I was literally setting it up for you. You didn't take it. So now,
See, that's my whole thing is I don't think they'll sign him because I don't think they want to win 6 games with Phillip Rivers.
Okay.
And I think that would be the worst case scenario. I think he goes to the NFC South, though, potentially.
Tampa.
give us the
Tampa.
ideal landing spot. Tampa? Okay.
I think the 2 best landing spots for Phillip Rivers are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Indianapolis Colts. Bruce Arians, like we talked about all offseason, we're like, oh, the ultimate no risk it, no biscuit quarterback is Jameis Winston. No, Phillip Rivers is the perfect Carson Palmer 2.0.
Okay.
Like people say his arm strength's diminished. I don't think it's. I mean, look, he's older. I don't think it's as bad as people say. You can bring in a guy like Ronald Jones, throw some swing passes. These pass catching backs. Maybe trade for David Johnson too. I don't think Bruce Arians wants to deal with 5 year. Like you're going to go 5 years of Jameis Winston at like $35 million a year. That's a lot of risk. You go 2 years of Phillip Rivers. That's a bridge that gets you out of the Jameis Winston sort of sunk cost to me. So I think that would fit. And then Frank Reich's his old quarterback's coach at Indianapolis.
Where did this, and I'll be honest with you, Will, where did this inception of this Phillip Rivers infatuation start?
With me?
Yeah, take it to the top.
Well, I went to NC State in '99.
Correct.
So I showed up at NC State and Rivers is there.
Okay.
And like I didn't have any classes with Rivers, and I wish I'd worked with the technician so I could have covered him more there. But like just an NC State fan who got 4 years of Phil, and he's also like a lovable Southern character. Like there's not a lot of
Bolo tie is genuine.
yeah.
It's a wonderful Phillip Rivers
Yeah, he's like,
impersonation.
yeah,
Of course you got
threw an
Phillip Rivers
interception.
He's like, I don't know where the ball went. Like, and I'm not like he'll go like 30 seconds without saying anything. He's just very energetic and passionate.
So when Phil tears up at press conferences, does Will tear up at press conferences?
I got him. Yeah. There was a lot of emotion. Now, look, if the Panthers sign him, I have multiple friends who said they'll buy season tickets.
Aha.
State fans who will buy season tickets, who live in Raleigh, will drive to Charlotte to watch the Panthers. So if David Tepper's listening and he is interested,
Wants your opinion.
He wants 2 season ticket holders from Raleigh. No, I mean, it was emotional.
I'm sure.
Like Phil, I just think the Chargers thing is like the ultimate, like, what if scenario. Like in 2006, Marlon McCree intercepts Tom Brady, and they're going to the AFC Championship game against a Colts team that they could absolutely have beaten. And, Troy Brown strips McCree. Brady gets the ball back. They win, and then the Colts coming to Miami. Like it's just they were always so close and just always tripped over themselves.
And
it's very
between
painful.
Peyton, Breeze, Brady, like he played in truly one of the greatest generations for quarterbacks.
For sure.
It was like Roddick behind Federer and Djokovic. It's just like kind of the wrong time for him to be one of the best.
Or like Phil Mickelson playing with Tiger. Like it's
Yeah.
you're just and also you look back at the trade that Archie Manning forced. Like, good job by you, Dad. Good move by you because Eli won 2 Super Bowls and he's memed out to death, but he's going to the Hall of Fame easily. And Phil's like, well, I went to the AFC Championship game and played with a torn ACL because I worked for this organization that, like, even with like LT, Vincent Jackson, Antonio Gates, and a great offensive line, couldn't put it all together.
We haven't asked you at all about the game on Sunday. How we're going to do that?
Okay.
Play a little game.
I love a game.
Dago took this from a crying kid at the beach. Pick one of these, answer it, if you will, for us, and read it out loud.
Finally,
because this is not only a video, but it's also a podcast.
Just so you know, I'm going to steal this bit at some
There we go. We stole it already.
Some tourist shop on North Beach. It's
This
available.
is a good one. This is a good question. Who gets more airtime, Robert Saleh or Mike Shanahan?
I remember talking about this last night.
So it's an interesting question. I think it's probably game script dependent. If the defense is playing well and getting stops on 3rd and 4th down and sacking Mahomes, it is going to be laser-locked Robert Saleh airtime. He's got
Just
more
flexing at the camera. Yes.
Screaming, just like you could see the veins popping out of his
Handsome man.
Very handsome man. Yeah. Rugged. I would not,
cross him? You would not cross him?
No, we're not crossing. Yes. I was just saying, you're at this event, and it's big dudes like Frank Clark and Chris Jones and strong offensive linemen out there. It's the scariest guy is Robert Saleh. I wouldn't mess with that guy. Shanahan, if the offense is winning for the 49ers and they're running the ball effectively, and Raheem Mostert, an undrafted free agent, is having a huge game, it'll be cut to Shanahan you can really see the tendencies of his father and son here operating. So that's a very good question. I will say it's game script dependent, but I would pick Saleh. No, I'll pick Shanahan because I think it's gonna be a shootout.
And quickly, how do you think the game's gonna go?
I had this lingering suspicion that the 49ers are going to be awesome in this game.
Yeah.
It's just kind of
the
there.
2 weeks to prep.
Yeah, and
figure out pieces of the Chiefs defense to attack.
Yeah, and I don't think they're going to hold Mahomes down. I think it's going to be a shootout. I think it's going to be a fun game, lots of points scored. I think they're going to probably have to open up Jimmy Garoppolo some in this offense and make him throw. I do think the Chiefs defense is better than people think. I think that if all the units in this game that are being rated properly or underrated, overrated, I think the Chiefs defense is getting the short end of the stick.
Yeah.
They're being treated like they can't stop the 49ers offense. Right. I mean, Honey Badger played a game of his life against against the Titans. He was flying everywhere. They were stuffing Derrick Henry. I know it's a different run game. It's going to be hard to stop. I think the Chiefs can pull it off.
I'm with you. It's interesting because we talked about the Chiefs defense last year and how they were a couple pieces away, but they added those pieces this summer. I mean, you talked about Frank Clark, and now you have Terrell Suggs and obviously Tyrann Mathieu. It's going to be an interesting one to watch. Well, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it, guys.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.